Hey Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline. And guys, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do that all-important comic book review so you, the fans, can make a decision of what comic books to buy. And today, guys, we're talking about a book that I normally don't pick up, but when I saw the cover of this book, I was like, oh, this might be actually funny. And this was Deadpool Annual issue number 1. Now, originally I had it on my pull list, and I took it off, and then I had it again, and then I went to the store and I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta get this, because just when you see the cover, it sits there and it shows a Marvel video, Deadpool and his insufferable pals, and it has Firestar and it's got Iceman on there. And then it's got what was his name? Robbie the robot from Fantastic Four. And I'm sitting there going, oh man, it's poking fun at Spider-Man and his amazing friends. So I was like, well, how are they going to actually do it? So when I was at the comic book store, I sat there and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, it looks kind of funny, because when you open it up, look who's inside. You got Bobby and you got Angelica in there, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know? You got those two from the show. If they made a comic of Spider-Man and his amazing friends, I would buy it. And that's my idea to Marvel. If somebody in Marvel ever watched this video, which they probably don't, or they probably ever won't, I say make a Spider-Man and his amazing friends. It'd be freaking awesome, right? Because if you were a fan of that show back in the day, you got to sit there and just relive all their voices and the music and all that stuff. And that's what I did with this issue. And it became so comical. So anyway, book is written by Jerry Duggan. You open up the book and you look at the interior art, and it's very cartoony-like, but that's expected because this is supposed to be like the TV show. And I thought they did a pretty good job with it. Iron Man, Iceman looked the same. Angelica looked the same. There's some crazy facial expressions, like look at Angelica. She's just like, oh no, you know. And then you got other characters in there, obviously like Deadpool, and then you have the Vulture, and you got Electro in there. So right away when I opened it up and I was skimming through it, I'm like, even though it's super cartoony, I'm like, I can accept it because it's supposed to be based off of a cartoon. So, artwork's pretty good. What do I think about the overall story? Now, when it comes to Deadpool comics, I always gravitate a little bit back to it every once in a while. And then I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. Because I feel like when I was a kid, was younger, I read Deadpool, and I'm like, it was funny, you know, and now that I'm older, it's just not so funny anymore. But this book was actually funny because it had to deal with my favorite characters. So in this book, we wound up finding out that Angelica and Bobby got this note from Peter saying that he was missing and that he's going to Mexico to get this Mexican food. And they're like, well, why would Peter leave? And so they're changing into Firestar and Iceman, and they wind up going back home. And they said, yeah, our new roommate is horrible. This Deadpool, he needs to go. He's gross and he's disgusting, you know? And it's so funny. And then, you get Aunt May that checks in with Miss Lyons. And, Deadpool starts talking to Aunt May. And he goes, yeah, you're no hot, sexy Marissa Tomei, but we can make a, and then Angelica turns, pushes him away. And just like, hey, no, stop. So as the issue progresses, you wind up finding out that there's trouble. The Sinister Six are causing problems. So you wind up seeing the Vulture coming in play, and then you wind up seeing Mysterio come in play. And right away, right when this happens, it was like, Deadpool feels like, you guys have been going lenient on this Sinister Six for years, and then they always come back. So right away, Deadpool comes, and he's just like, oh, you don't scare me, Deadpool, and boom. He shoots him right in the fishbowl helmet, and blood fills up the helmet, and he keels over and he dies. And so all of a sudden, this whole thing becomes this blood fest. He starts shooting at everybody. He starts shooting at Electro, and Iceman is all depressed. He's just like, oh man, he's like, we're murderers. This is crossing the line. We've never done this stuff before. And so he's just like, come on, Iceman, you gotta snap out of it. And then Deadpool starts spreading rumors all over the place to Angelica, and she's like, "Oh, how can you do that?" And then she legitimately like fries the Vulture, and he's sitting there falling from the sky, and he plops onto the ground, into the van that they're trying to get away from. This book is hysterical. It has so many funny moments when it comes to the Sinister Six and Spider-Man and everything else in this book. I don't want to spoil the rest. I'm telling you guys to go out and buy this book. Now, this is an annual, so this story doesn't take up the whole book. There's a couple other little short stories in here that, honestly, to me, weren't that good. But the main story that is in this book, I thought was absolutely hysterical. And I was laughing at every panel, every page, and I wanted more. If the whole book was like this, I would have loved it. And you're not going to wait until you see the ending of this particular story. I loved it. I can't give it a 5 stars because I didn't like the entire book, but I definitely will give it a 4.25 out of 5 stars, as this is one of the funniest, and even though it's kind of gross in many ways or sick, but humorous issues of a comic that I've read in a while from Marvel Comics. And this is what I want to see from Marvel. I just want to have some good time reading my comics, not really, you know, diving on too many of these major events and things like this. I just had a nice time reading it. And if they made a book like this and to relive, you know, that universe or whatever it is, and they briefly touched on it on Spider-Verse, I would love this so much more. This would be a great thing for Marvel to have instead of that Great Lake Avengers nonsense or the fucking solo shit. You know, put something in there that maybe fans from the past could like as much, and maybe new fans could come enjoy. Because when was the last time we actually saw, you know, this type of Iceman in there, and Firestar? You know, she's not in these books. So maybe one day, hopefully, Marvel, you're listening to this video and you'll see it, because that's kind of what I want. If everybody else agrees with me here on if you want Amazing Spider-Man and his amazing friends in comic form, put it in the discussions box below. Say yay or nay, and maybe one day we can get it. So, guys, sorry for the lengthy review, but I love this book. And as always, thank you for watching Comic Frontline. And this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Take care, guys. Bye.